What is happening? Man, what's good, brother?
Oh, we were just talking, and you're in Pittsburgh. I'm in Ohio. We have just lovely, 59 degrees and pouring rain. It's just amazing out there.
Amazing. Florida in the 80s, where I know we both will be in a very short period of time. So definitely jealous, man. You're going to get down to the Keys and get down to the happy place without heading over to the islands. So I know that's
I'm really excited about the end of October, beginning of November. Obviously, we have EXPCon, and this is going to sound weird. That my two most exciting things about EXPCon is one, Flow Rida on Monday night with the Fast Forward Movement gang. I am so stoked. I've been listening to Flow Rida for the last week. Flow Rida. And I just never knew he had as many hits as he has. I mean, it's gonna be off the chain. So I'm excited about that. By the way, if you're listening to this and you're gonna be there, come find Jay, me, John. You're gonna be at EXPCon?
Not. I am. I'm about to put my body through.
Oh, that's right. You're running 100 miles in Tampa. Forgot. Yes. Say a prayer for our boy John here.
Yes.
But we're going to be watching Flow Rida, and we got a couple tables. So come find Jay and I. We got some bottle service and private tables. Come find us and say hi. We'd love to see you guys. And we're getting interviewed by GoGo on Wednesday morning. Then we're taking off, heading to the Keys. Courtney and I are doing a little vacation. We need one. And then I know next I'm flying back up to Fort Lauderdale.
What a cool
for the PBD. I literally just before we came on here, I bought the tickets for Aiden, Matthew, myself. We're heading to the election watch party with Patrick Bet-David and his crew. They just bought a brand new corporate office in Fort Lauderdale with an airplane hangar and an airport. I mean, it's like literally like all on the property.
It's right there.
Super excited. Then we're flying to Dallas to the we're doing Uncle G's flying in to speak for a small group. Anybody interested, just DM me and I'll get you the invite about multifamily. If you're interested in investing in multifamily, you're like, man, I want to do it, but I have no clue. Come to Dallas. It's November 9th and 10th. And Aiden and Matthew are coming with me on that one too, because we just invested in a building called Cityscape, and they invested with me. They took part of their college fund that they're not using, and we threw it into the fund. So they have their first multifamily that they've invested in with me. So that we're going to go see it because we haven't seen it. So I'm excited about, and of course, the election and everything cool. So lots of good stuff, man. And you're training for an 100-mile race.
I am. And it's one of those things too, right? Like, so this is the first one this year. We did two last year, and then one the year before that. And as you going into them, you never feel like you're quite prepared, right? You never did quite enough. You could have always done more. And I think that's even like with our business, that's like even with agents right now, just everything, man, maybe I just haven't quite done enough. And I remember going into the one that we did at the end of last year, and I was feeling that way, and coach goes, let me point something out to you. She goes, you've actually put just as much time in as you did previously before Keys last year.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? She's like, yeah. She said the data don't lie. That's why, really making sure that whatever we're doing in our business efforts, I always liken it to this, man. I was talking to client this morning. So the way I love to visualize this, wherever we're trying to go, right? That's the destination. That's where we're trying to go. Yeah. That's the vision. That's the future. That's whatever it is we're trying to go. And over here is our endeavor, right? Is our vehicle. And our objective is to navigate that vehicle, which is your airplane, and you're trying to fly your airplane to that destination, which is ultimately in business is freedom. And so, we have this vehicle, this airplane, and it can be whatever you want it to be. It can be a 2-seater, it could be a 6-seater, it could be the biggest damn thing that you ever get up in the air. And the important factor is, one, we know where we're going, which is our freedom, our destination, what we're trying to accomplish. But this is like, man, who do you have to become in order to fly that vehicle to that destination? Knowing that you've got a mountain range, you've got storms, you've got turbulence, you've got, bad weather, you've got all of these things that you're going to have to navigate through to be able to get to that destination. And it's just a constant reminder, right? That, whatever it is, whatever we're trying to accomplish, who do we have to become? We're becoming the best version. We're learning as much as we possibly can. And you're doing the best that you can, but you're keeping track of that. You're looking at the data, right? You're adjusting the coordinates. You're doing the things that you need to do. And, we're testing and we're trying things. We're like, man, that doesn't work. I want to go. Like, I went 40 last week on Saturday, and I learned a lot, right? I'm like, okay, well, my body's not ready for that. I didn't do this right. I got to make that adjustment. I need to prepare here for this. And that's just like everything in the business, man. You just don't know until you try.
Yeah.
It's like, learn, make the adjustment, do the work, make the adjustment. And so I think that's just where a lot of agents are right now too. And I know you're talking to a lot of agents, and what I've been telling them, man, is like, one, know where you're going. What do you need that the market's giving you to be able to get there right now? And, what is required daily in order for you to make progress, to that destination. So I think, there's just a lot of distractions, a lot of things that you were talking about there. Everybody's got so much stuff going on. And then there's so many distractions. We got a rough 3.5 weeks. I think it's going to get pretty damn interesting over the next few weeks. I mean, if one gentleman makes it to election night, I will be shocked. It's just wild, bananas stuff out right now.
I want to unpack a couple of things you just said. Number one, a lot of people, and I was one of them. If you're somebody out there that's like, why is John Kitchens attempting to run 100 miles? What's he trying to do? What is the real goal? Is the goal to bust up his toes and not be able to walk for a couple of days and be in pain? Like, I think that people really miss the whole thing, which ties in beautifully to the whole business piece. But you took it to another step, which was really interesting. Number one, in order to win in business, you have to be not just focused, but you have to be able to, you need to do things that you need to do when you don't want to do them.
That's right.
And this ties directly into training for a triathlon or a 100-mile race or any of these things. There's an immense amount of preparation mentally between your ears that has to happen. You can't wing that. You can't wing building a $1 million business or a $5 million business or a $10 million business. Okay. You can't wing it. I mean, you can try to wing it. And if you try to wing it when you're attempting to complete a 100-mile race or a triathlon, you can end up dead or in the hospital in some really bad shape if you're not mentally prepared going in. The other thing that you had mentioned is the negotiation and the figuring things out with your body. Now, in business, it's different. But in a race, you're testing things. You're constantly like, okay, did that work? I just went on a 20-mile, a 40-mile run leading up to this long run. Like, how do I feel? Where's my awareness? This awareness of what hurts, what doesn't hurt. Where did I get, where did I want to give up? Whatever it was. And it's this constant negotiation you have with your body. Mm-hmm. And the same thing with business. When you're trying to build a $10 million business, okay, you're going to have to test things out. You're going to have to test out this ad. Does this ad work? Does this copy better? And it's a constant iteration. And you're either mentally prepared to do this the right way or you're not. It's a decision. It's a big decision. It's the reason I did the Ironman.
Yeah. It wasn't awesome.
I wanted to get on a bike and run, 13 miles and get on a bike for 56 miles or whatever it was. I didn't want to do any of that.
No.
But I needed to train my brain to go to the next level. And that was the beauty behind doing the race was that focus, being able to be coachable. And it just ties right in.
It unlocks a lot of things too, right, Al? Like you were saying, like I remember when you were going through that training, like you didn't want to get on the bike and sit there for hours training, in the living room. Those are the things you just don't want to do. However, you know that those steps are required, or you are going to put yourself in a bad position, right? Like, really could, I mean, you hit them organs a whole different way when you're pushing your body the way you are out there. So if you're not, learning the things and be able to make the adjustments. But as you were kind of talking through there, I know certain people that have to be able to step back and take a breather at certain points, right? To where their bodies, they need to go. And it's the same thing in business, right? You can push for so long, but at some point you need to be able to recalibrate and reset. That's why we do strategy every 90 days. That's why you said, man, we got to get to the keys. We need some sunshine. We need a breather. We've been going hard. And the reality is, and I remember Clay would always preach this to us. He's like, you can go full steam for 2 quarters. You can go hard for 2 quarters. You're going to break people in 3, and you can't do 4. And I know a lot of folks have been learning and pushing real hard this year, right? We're in the 4th quarter. I wouldn't take a breath right now. I think this is separation. So if you have been going hard all year, you maybe need a day here or a day there to recalibrate. Don't take your foot off the gas for an extended period of time right now. But if you did ease in through a quarter, you kind of breathed a little bit in Q2 or maybe in Q3, then this is your go time. Q4 right now, I honestly think, Al, right now is the separator. It's one of the biggest opportunities to separate yourself from anybody else right now, because you got to have the delayed gratification. It's just like you were doing all of that training for what? I mean, how many months did you train for the delayed gratification of being able to get across the finish line? And
like 6 months, something, maybe 7 months.
Yeah. So I think right now, man, 4th quarter, because there are so many distractions, Q4 is the toughest quarter of the year. There's the fewest amount of working days, and it has the most distractions. You've got holidays, you've got kids getting out of school, you've got, how many, days are the banks actually open? How many actual true working days? It's the fewest of any quarter. And that's why Q4 is always the hardest. And I remember, Elle was talking to a few people last week, talking to these agents, just getting feedback. How's business? What are you thinking? She had one agent say, I'm just taking the rest of the year off. I was like, you should be salivating at that. That should just be like, yeah, get out of the way. And I think that's how everybody needs to be thinking right now, because there's a lot of agents that are getting caught up in the headlines, getting caught up in the distractions, getting caught up in noise, and they're not doing the necessary required actions. They're not getting on the bike every day to train.
Yeah. I mean, you can't allow yourself to get distracted and caught up in the hype. You got to remain focused. Look, we're going to win no matter who wins the selection. Okay. Is it going to be harder one way or another, depending on who wins? Sure. Yeah, we're going to keep winning anyway. It's because we're going to stay focused, head down, eyes up, like we always have. And that is the separation piece. Now I want to poke a little hole on something you just said. Someone said, I'm going to take the rest of the year off. Frankly, I love that for a couple reasons. One, if you're in that market and that person's, like you had just alluded to, taking off, well, that's a perfect opportunity for someone else to go in there, and it's an opportunity for someone else to grow.
Yeah.
But the other piece of it that I like is that, what if the person that said they're taking the rest of the year off is because they just murdered it for 6 straight months? And you know what? They're going to go live. They're going to go make memories. They're going to go spend time with the person they love, or their loved ones, their family, or whatever. They're going to go do fun stuff. I was just on a warm-up call with a lady. I'm going to plug her. Her name's Amanda Williams. And I think it's like Amanda Williams, the traveling realtor, or something like that on Instagram. You can look her up. Yeah, Amanda Williams. Amanda, the traveling realtor, is the actual handle on Instagram, but her name's Amanda Williams. And she lives in Cabo San Lucas part of the year. And she lives, I think, in North Carolina the other part of the year. And she took a couple years off and followed Tony Robbins and got her personal development on point for the last few years. You know, she grew her real estate business, grew her revenue share to a certain point, and then had some things happen in her life. and she's like, I'm going to go find the new version of me, or create the new version of me is actually what you do when you go follow Tony Robbins for a couple years and come back a new person. Now, not everybody has the ability to do that, but wouldn't that be cool if you did?
Yeah.
Would that be
absolutely.
another of freedom? When you talk about freedom, it doesn't mean that you just fold up and you're not going to work anymore.
I think what you're saying to that point, if you are in that stage of freedom, right? And remember, the next stage is legacy. And maybe you need some time to figure out what the legacy that you want to live.
Yeah.
But if you're an agent that's in survival and you think you're going to take 3 months off, good luck, because it ain't going to start back up that fourth month. It's going to take you 4, 5, and 6 to get the revenue come back in months 7, 8, and 9. So if you are in freedom and you have the capabilities, God bless you, go for it, right? Just remember, there's another level beyond freedom, and that's legacy. Yeah. And what are you working towards? What are you building? What do you want to live, right? So, Mike Senior, working with and having conversations with Mike Senior, he's in that phase, right? He's in the legacy phase, and the empire that he's built, what he's going to be able to hand over whenever Junior's ready, right? But he wants to leave a legacy, and that's what he's focused on. And so I think it's just really, really cool knowing where you're at, knowing there's always another level, and make sure that you're making the decisions that's allowing you to continue to progress, to move to that level.
Yeah. And your decisions do change from, like you just like Mike, you might talk about Mike Senior. He makes decisions differently today than he did 10, 15 years ago. Because 10, 15 years ago, he was growing 2 market centers with Keller Williams, and he was in building phase, and he's still building, by the way. You can't just take the build out of Mike.
Shut up. No, he's hardwired that way.
A beast. Yeah. And so, but he does make decisions differently than he does, because You're right. He's building legacy now, where before he was in mode of building his businesses out, which he did and successfully sold both of them. So
I love it.
Anyways, let's talk about the MLS thing, man.
Yeah, man. You're talking about headlines, right? Let's kind of shift over to that and shift into, this headline that, the MLS decisions and kind of the conversations and just really what's happening out there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm open to I know where my belief system lies with this topic at the moment. But it's been all over, Inman and BAM and some of these other places. But basically, what we've discovered was that the clear cooperation rule basically states, or policy, I should say, from NAR states that when you list a property, you have to have it in the MLS within a day or two, whatever it is. Now we have this new settlement that's also affecting, these MLS rules, and apparently, and it's one of my favorite places, Park City, to snowboard and ski and stuff like that. But we were talking about it before the podcast, is that, the Park City is, the average home price in Park City is $1.7 million. It's not reality for most of, the United States, and as far as your average is concerned. So we have to start there. It's a luxury area. You can't buy in Park City unless you're a multimillionaire. These are just the facts, right? So we're dealing with a fraction of the 1% income earners who would be owning and selling these types of properties. But basically, Park City Board of Realtors is stating that they're no longer going to enforce the policy of clear cooperation, meaning, and I have a theory. I don't know what yours is, but what's pushing this? And I have a feeling that it's greed, that it's not, it's hey, I could hang on to this $4 million ski chalet listing. I mean, there's only one of them. It's not like there's 15 to choose from. If you want to buy a $4, $5, $6 million, because look, that even a $2 million place in Park City, it ain't getting you much. I'm shopping right now in Lake Tahoe. $2 million, it gets you, a 3, maybe if you're lucky, a 4-bedroom, but a 3-bedroom, probably a 1,800 square foot, I mean, not a shithole or anything, but I mean, it's nice, but you're not getting this palace for $2 million. Okay. Same thing in Park City. I guess where I'm going is it's just not normal. It's not like everyday America, right? And what we're seeing is people, agents, in my opinion, wanting to keep these listings as pocket listings. They don't want to put them in the MLS because they know they can double side them and keep all the commission for themselves. My question to you is, John, is that in the best interest of the seller? We know that if I wanted to go sell my truck, my F-150, okay, and I parked it out front of my house over here with a sign that said for sale, call, here's my cell phone number, and I could even put the price or whatever. I might get a couple people call. I may get a few people. It's just the ones that are driving by, right?
Yeah.
But if I wanted to put it on Auto Trader, I'm going to increase the value because I'm increasing the number of potential buyers and demand that place. It's kind of just common sense. What am I missing here? Why is, the Park City Board of Realtors saying, oh yeah, it's okay to not, put it in the MLS so that you can ultimately cooperate with other real estate agents who could potentially have a buyer for that property?
Man, I think it gets into a lot of the, it's my secrets. I don't want to share this. I'm of, I don't know, almost scarcity. This is mine. I don't want to play. I don't want to share with you. I think I could do it a little bit more instead of maximizing the exposure. But talking to, agents that work with a lot of high net worth individuals, everything's always for sale, right? If you can find me the right in person that's willing to buy this, what I've noticed though is that they ain't motivated. And because if they were motivated, then we would maximize the amount of exposure that we could for that asset to be able to get the most amount of eyeballs. Even if it's not the buyer, maybe it's an agent that is representing another buyer that might be able to have that opportunity, but we're still limiting the number of eyeballs and exposure for that property. But just in my experience, just from observation, everything's always for sale. And if you can bring me the buyer, and what I always laugh when I hear that, and like, I got this, I'm like, so why aren't it's off market. Well, why isn't it on market? Why isn't it, exposed to the maximum amount of, and it's like, at the end of the day, man, they just ain't motivated.
I remember, in full disclosure, by the way, I'm not a luxury agent, never have been. I mean, I've sold and owned luxury real estate, but I never considered myself like a luxury agent per se. I have met with, clients that you would consider they have a luxury property. And one of them just cracked me up. This guy, I come and meet him and he says, okay, and I'll just tell you, like at the time, let's say that this property in Cleveland, a $1 million property is way like a $700,000 property is considered luxury. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so it was probably $1 million property. He wanted to list it for $1.8 million. So, 800,000, and he didn't want any pictures of the inside. He didn't want any internet sites either. And he didn't want a sign in the yard. And he just wanted to keep it, a private listing like this. And who would take that listing? I mean, there's someone that's going to take that listing. Sure. I didn't take that listing. I'll tell you this right now. You run into a client like that, those are the types of clients that will drive you out of the business. You will be an unhappy, miserable, wanting to go, learn a different trade pretty much if you continue taking clients on like that. They will suck the soul right out of you. Yeah. And I learned that the hard way and having to deal with a few clients like that. So, I mean, I don't know. I think that I can't in good conscience say to myself, it's like a good old boys club. Mm-hmm. Who benefits most from the good old boys clubs? The good old boys.
Good old boys. That's it.
That's it. It's not the seller. It's certainly not the buyer. I'm a buyer right now. Jarrett and Christy Gant are awesome. Honey Badger Nation. Shout out to them. If you're looking for real estate in Lake Tahoe, they are the people to go to, and they're my agents, and they're looking for homes for us right now there. And not one of the places that they've sent me has been their listing. I mean, that says it right there. Okay. That is a very similar, it's a resort, luxury real estate area, no doubt. And if everyone operated like the Park City Board of Realtors is suggesting, is that you don't have to put it in the MLS, I would not be seeing everything that's available out there. And it's just, so it's not consumer. It's not right for consumers. It's certainly not right for sellers. Mm-hmm. The only ones that win are the good old boys of Park City who are wanting to keep those pocket listings all to themselves, convincing their sellers that this is the right way to go. I'm not buying it.
I'm not either. It's just, the truly motivated you want the most amount of exposure. And now, I mean, if you have connections and being able to, to market the property, I mean, that's one thing. But as a seller that's wanting to keep it super hidden, find things, man, I just have seen they ain't motivated. It's just more of, them just trying to, and good for them, right? If they could get, maximize, but if they're truly serious, they're truly motivated, then, we do what we're supposed to do as marketers and create the most amount of demand that we can for the property.
Amen. Well, we don't have a whole lot today, but we had I love the beginning of this conversation because, man, you inspire me every year. You're always pushing yourself mentally, physically. And it really, people watching and listening to this really need to, start thinking, asking a better question. It's not like, why would someone do that? It's like, why is he pushing himself mentally? Mm-hmm. Why is he pushing himself physically? There's a golden answer in there that can help you start thinking, what do I need to be doing different? Am I sitting in my comfort zone? I've never seen you sit one day in your fucking comfort zone, man. Not one day, because you can't sit in a comfort zone in 100 miles in Tampa, Florida.
I can't, man. It's the you either, I'm just of the belief you're either growing or you're dying, right? Complacency and floating is not growth. And, I truly understand why Glenn, made that, complacency push a couple of years ago for everybody as EXP was still having that hard growth push. And it's just because of what happened in a short amount of time. And he just didn't want people getting complacent. And so I think it's always finding, and here's the thing, right? Even from a physical standpoint, I remember when running a 5K, I couldn't imagine running a 5K, right? And then I'm going to go a half marathon. Are you crazy?
Yeah.
A marathon? What are you talking about? I can't even get my head around going 26.2. And then it's just like, everybody's hard is hard and whatever that is. But I tell you the thing for me though, Al, it comes down to, what really matters, right? When you get to a certain point, you just unlock a few things in your mind. And there's always other things to unlock, but you reach those milestones. And, two things that always kind of drive me. One is Jesse Itzler, right? He said the worst thing for us as human beings is accomplishing a big milestone, a big goal, and not immediately resetting the goal.
Yes.
And then the other thing is, man, is that I've been humbled by a lot of human beings in my life, and I would rather humble myself than have another human being humble me. And, Elle and I were talking a lot about this, and it's like, I see it in kids, I see it in people, and I'm like, man, I would have got my ass beat. My dad would have smacked me. My mom would have smacked me. Like, I would have been outside. Some dude would have drugged me out and taught me a lesson for behaving that way. And, it's just humbling. And, we all need to be humbled. And so I like pushing because it humbles me, keeps me humble every day. It's the whole, outcome over ego. We all fight it, especially us as drivers, as just alphas, just pushing each and every day. Like, we need something to humble us. If not, we kind of run wild. And I think it's really important for us to stay humble, stay focused, know what truly matters. And I tell you, when you do hard stuff, and you know this because you've done a lot of hard things in your life, is that certain things that bother a lot of people just don't even bother you because they don't matter, right? It's just like that's irrelevant. That's out of my control. It's just like I don't get upset over that. I don't worry about that. That doesn't keep me up at night.
Yeah.
When you do hard things.
And that's a progression, right? Like
Yeah.
10 years ago, there were things that would happen that would really get under my skin, cause me anxiety, cause me anger, all these things. Today, I would say probably 80% of those things I don't give a damn about. But there are 20% that still trigger me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But like that is the progression. It's okay not to be okay about everything. And so stop trying to compare yourself to some Instagram person that everything looks perfect on, because everybody's fucked up a little bit.
Everybody has a storm, man.
Courtney and I always talk about, like, we are perfectly imperfect.
Mm-hmm.
And we all are. Yeah. And so understanding that, making a decision on a journey of growth, making the decision to take the path of personal growth and pushing yourself outside that comfort zone. I think that's how we win together. Speaking of winning together, if you don't mind, I'd like to, invite you, anybody who's going to be in, who'd like to come to Dallas on November 9th and 10th. We have Grant Cardone speaking at a very small, intimate. I say small and intimate, and it may be a few hundred people. I don't know, but I think it's going to be, nice, tight type of a conference. It's not thousands of people going to be there. And I like that because you have more proximity to the speakers who are going to be up there teaching.
Man.
Yeah, how to invest, grow your multi-generational wealth in multifamily residential apartment buildings. And we just closed on our first Class A. We're looking at a now Class B property. I took part of the boys, like Ed said earlier, part of their college tuition that they're not going to be using for college. Cool. We invested it into the apartment building. And so we're going to go see that asset, but come and join us. I put ConnectCon. It's called ConnectCon, and it's ConnectCon Texas. I put the link in there. Feel free to click it and join us in Dallas.
Yes, sir.
And good luck with your race.
Thank you, brother.
We're going to connect next
again
Monday. We'll see y'all next Monday in the One Big Fire podcast. And we'll see you at the top.
Or from the top.
Let's go.
All right, brother. We'll see you. Thank you, guys. See you.